Hello, everybody. So today's video is going to be a review of the new live-action Mulan that is streaming now on Disney+. We actually paid the price and paid the $29.99 to watch Mulan when it first came out. I'm recording this about 7 o'clock, about 8 o'clock at night. We purchased it around 4:30. I will say, prepare yourself for a movie that is nothing like the original. Go in with an empty mind, go in with no sort of judgment or sort of anticipation for the movie. Just go in with a clear slate and really just go in and try to enjoy the movie for what it is, and don't try to compare it to the animated version, because if you do, you may be saddened or kind of disappointed that your favorite characters or your favorite music or favorite songs are not in this movie. Because I don't know if you've heard the rumors, but there's no music, there's no Mushu, there's no cricket, none of that kind of stuff. So the opening of the movie was very, very cute. I really enjoyed the beginning of the movie. We see Mulan as this cute little adorable Spitfire that is trying to help her father wrangle some chickens. And when she is doing that, we discover something about this movie that's going to be a trend in the movie for sure, called cheat. Mulan has it, a lot of other people in the movie have it, but it's frowned upon. We see this amazing Mulan falling from a building, but uses her chi to help save herself. And I think her father understood then and now that she has a Spitfire and kind of a big personality on her hand, not a normal little girl that he was expecting. And I don't know if you know this or not, just if you haven't seen the live action, Mulan's father is blessed with 2 daughters and was not blessed with a son. Women are to be raised to bring honor to their family by marrying a man and having children and being respectful to their family in that way, when men do the fighting and things like that. Mulan wanted nothing to do with that. She didn't want to do that, but she knew that she needed to fall into that line, which was one of the things that I wasn't really happy about, was because Mulan fought about it, fought, but then all of a sudden just gave up. She was like, okay, you know what? I know I need to give up. I know I need to fall in line, of just go with what my family is telling me, which brings us into the matchmaking scene. I was anticipating this scene because of the music, and I was really worried that this scene would be kind of boring because the fact that there's no catchy song to go with it, or cute little cheating things on her arm and all that kind of stuff. And that's something that I really enjoyed from the animated version. The live action movie does have music, does have the Bring Honor to Us All song, but it's in the background and you can barely hear it. Like, it's just faintly here. You can know it's there, you understand what song it is, but it's not enough to really bring the nostalgia back. Like, you're like, oh, okay, that's there. But the matchmaking scene is one of my favorite scenes from Mulan animated, because it's a funny scene, and the cricket is part of the scene where the cricket is like in the tea and jumping all over the place. And I don't know, this scene was kind of lackluster for me. Don't get me wrong, the outfits, the makeup, the scenery, everything was gorgeous. I loved it all. I just really missed the animated version, where there's the song and just the jokes, I guess. What you'll notice throughout this review is that this movie is very serious. There's not many jokes to it. You see a lot when Mulan is at home, when she is younger. They do joke every once in a while whenever she's off in the Imperial Army, but it's not anywhere near compared to the actual animated version. The Imperial Army gets attacked, the 4th Regiment gets attacked, and everybody gets killed. and the emperor decides that it's time to enlist more people. And what that means is that the first male or the father of each family is enlisted to go fight in the army. Like I said earlier, Mulan's father does not have any sons, so he is supposed to do that. Even though he is basically crippled, he has some kind of brace on his leg where he can barely walk. He basically decides that I have to do it. I have no choice. I don't have any sons, and I have to bring honor to my family. Even though I've already fought for my country, I have to do it again. Well, Mulan doesn't agree with that and fights her father on it. Her father puts her in her place, and Mulan falls in line. This scene, the next scene in the animated movie, is when Mulan decides to take her father's armor, cut her hair with the sword, make the decision that she's going into the army. The scene in the live action was lackluster to the max. It's very choppy. Like, there was pieces missing, I felt. You jump from her talking to her father about the sword, and then she points the sword at the camera, and then the next scene she's in the armor and she's riding off with her horse. Which, by the way, the horse's name is not even Khan. It's like Black Spirit or something. I don't even know what it's called. But it's not Khan, which is annoying to me. And the bad guy in the movie, the leader of the other bad guys, his name is Khan. So that was another reason why I was not happy. So part of the movie is that the father, when he was talking to Mulan, said that the phoenix is something that he always carried with him because that was their protector. Now, throughout the movie, I think it's like 6 or 7 scenes, maybe 8, there's this phoenix bird dragon looking thing that basically flies around and is the protector and the follower and the guide for Mulan. It's basically anytime Mulan is distraught or is in trouble, the phoenix shows up. In my head, that was Disney's way of kind of bringing in Mushu, but without bringing in Mushu. So the phoenix dragon bird thing, same colors as Mushu, red, yellow, blue, and is basically like her spiritual guide, which Mushu was that for the movie. He was there to help, bring laughter, bring comedy, and to guide Mulan to make the good decisions. Me, I think that's what the point was. I know that the phoenix was the spiritual guide for Mulan, but I think it's Disney's way of bringing in Mushu without technically bringing in Mushu, and kind of, because you can't really, in this type of movie, you can't bring Mushu in. You can't have Mushu. You can't have that comedy relief because this movie is not a comedy. This movie, to me, was very straight to the point. This is going to be a action-filled movie. It's going to be a very serious movie. It's going to be, it's going to follow along with historical moments, and we're going to take this movie and make this as accurate as we can to the depiction of Mulan from the stories. What happens now is basically we're moving on to training, and Mulan leaves her family. She takes her father's armor. She takes her horse, Black Spirit, whatever his name is, and she goes on this trek, which I don't understand why they don't just pick everybody up, but everybody has to basically make a trek or a journey to the camp where all the training is. She gets lost along the way. She gets super dehydrated, basically is dying, and the Phoenix shows up. She gets this boost of power, not power, but she gets a rejuvenation, and has enough power and strength to get to the camp. She shows up. She has this kind of like a little tussle with another guy to show her strength. And it's basically the same as the animated. There's a lot of training. Of course, no music. There's no Li Shang in this movie. The person who trains Mulan and the other people is an older gentleman. Not really correlation. Don't know what's going on. I don't know why Li Shang is not in this movie. But they show up. She has to go through basically camp with a bunch of dudes, and as a woman, she can't really take showers. She can't undress. things like that. So there is some jokes about how she stinks and she hasn't showered. So we do come down to the scene where she's like, you know what, I have to shower. So there's this like lake or pond or river or whatever, where she derobes and she goes and gets in the water. Well, one of the gentlemen decides to join her, and very awkward because it's very short and sweet. It was like, I want to be your friend, and Mulan was like, I don't want to be your friend, and then they moved on. He got out of the water, she finished bathing, and then she got out of the water. As the scenes go on, they all start to develop their skills, archery, everything, fighting, swords, sticks, whatever you want to call it. And they really start to develop their skills as fighters and as archers, and everything starts to come into place. They realize that something's gone on where another regiment has been attacked and they have to go into battle. This is when it starts to get weird, because, like I said, they're all learning their skills and they're all starting to get better with their skills. But like when they get into battle, they're all like masters. Like they're all, for some reason, everybody is flipping and ducking and jumping and swording, and I don't know. It kind of skipped to like another degree, another level of talent and skill, which kind of was kind of weird to me. But we come into battle, which, by the way, there's a lot of death in this movie. So if you have children, I would be advised to maybe watch it first and then see if it's okay for your kids to watch. This movie is rated PG-13, but there's absolutely not one drop of blood anywhere in the movie. There is a ton of death. There is a very, very deep and very dark scene where there's a lot of dead bodies and a lot of dead people laying all over the place. But like I said, there's no blood. So it's rated PG-13 because of the death and the violence and things like that. There's no language, no cussing of any kind, which was kind of cool. But I will say that I was kind of thrown off by the fact that everybody spoke English perfectly. There was maybe 2 or 3 people that sort of had an accent depicted of that region. I don't know how else to explain it. It just was kind of off to me. I know Disney probably had a thing where they're like, you know what, we don't want this to be another language and have to have subtitles because some kids can't read, whatever. But I truly think that it affected the movie for me greatly because it wasn't authentic to the story. If I'm going to watch a movie based in China, I want to watch a movie that is based in China, if that makes sense. It was just weird. I don't know why. That bugged me. It bugged me a lot to not have that authenticity to the story. So they go into battle. Mulan chases down the bad guys. She ends up coming up with this like spirit chi bird lady. I don't know what else to call her. I don't know her name. I probably could have done the research before I started doing this, but they both have chi, but the other lady is more advanced and knows more about it and knows that Mulan is not Mulan because she's portraying a dude. Basically telling her that your chi is blocked because you're not being yourself, which honor and truth is a huge part of this movie because Mulan is fighting with that the whole entire time. She wants to bring honor to her family, but she's not being truthful. And being truthful is part of the code you say that you must abide by in order to be in the army. So with her portraying a dude, she is not being honest, not bringing honor, and she's not being truthful. The lady ends up attacking her. Mulan realizes that she has to be herself and she has to be truthful for herself, and she needs to know that it's time to really be herself. So she disrobes of all of her father's armor as she's riding a horse, and she comes out in this red robe, not a speck of armor on her, but she's going into battle with a bunch of swords and arrows and spears. Kind of weird. Comes through, does her thing. She's fighting the guys, fighting the opponents, fighting the enemy. And then the enemy gets this like boost of energy or something where they get the advantage and they start basically killing the Mulan side. So Mulan has this idea that she's going to start an avalanche. So this is the avalanche part of the movie, and they do it completely different, and they have a totally different way of doing it, which was, in my opinion, more realistic. But here we go with the choppiness again. So she has this idea that she's going to cause an avalanche to kill the enemy. Well, the choppiness comes from she has the idea, and then all of a sudden she's behind a rock. And then now she's flinging arrows at the opponent, killing them one by one. And then they notice, and they catapult a fireball at her. It misses terribly. It lands in the snow, causes an avalanche, and then kills the enemy. Now it comes down to her saving the whole entire army, and then the army discovering that she's a woman. The army basically betrays her, says, you have no place here, you're a woman, you do not have the right to be here, and you were not honest, and you're banished. So even though she saved the whole entire army, she was still banished, which made me really mad. She goes away, has this like really weird conversation with the bird lady, and then understands, because the bird lady told her some things that were going down, that she needed to go back and fight for her country, no matter what it took. She doesn't matter what happens. She doesn't care if she gets killed. She's gonna go fight for her country. She goes back to the army, basically pleads with them to give her a chance. They forgive her and accept that she's a woman, and they allow her to lead the army into battle, which was like storyline throughout the rest of the movie. It was like, oh my god, a woman is leading the army? How dare she? Like, so they come into the empire. Basically the whole entire rest of the army, besides like the select few that came from the 5th Regiment, were being slaughtered by the enemy. This is when we really see Mulan. The action starts to come in. The action in the fight, in the battle, was amazing, but the amount of martial arts and just fighting was spectacular. I loved it. I was captivated by it, which I'm not usually when it comes to that kind of thing. I just loved that style. The actress who played Mulan did fantastic, which she does have a history of martial arts, so she knew what she was doing, which showed, by the way. Slow motion, they did fast. It was, I loved it a lot. I'm not going to say anything spoilers after this, because I don't want to ruin the movie, because there's a lot of amazing things that happen from that point on. Mulan did some amazing things. She fought for her country. The action was amazing. Again, no blood, so you don't have to worry about that. But moving on to the end of the movie, there is a spoiler that there's a specific person that comes into the movie. I'm not going to name names. You're going to find out by yourself. I hope you know who she is or he is, so you can identify what I'm talking about, because it's an amazing thing to see. And after Mulan saves the dynasty, the Emperor offers her the highest level in the Imperial Army. And Mulan, being the person that she is, knew that it was an amazing honor, but she had to deny the honor or reject the honor, because she needed forgiveness more than anything, which is something that a lot of people would not have done. And it made my heart happy to see that she needed to go back to her family and be with her family, and she needed to understand and know that her family was still with her. So she went back to her family. Now in the movie that Mulan comes back with the Emperor's crest or whatever, and then the sword, that doesn't happen. She comes back by herself. Her village welcomes her back. And she, basically her father understands that he was wrong to try to stop her from being who she was. He knew that she had become the woman that she needed to be. And after this touchy moment, I was this close to crying. It was this close to crying. Village gets a visit from the Imperial Army. They say, "You have saved the dynasty, you have saved our country, you have saved us all. Would you take the honor of joining the army?" And this is one of the reasons this movie is aggravating to me, because there was not a lot of answers given. And this is one of them. They cut the movie. Like, they just ended it without giving an answer. Like, I want to know if Mulan joined the army or not, because I don't know the story of Mulan, like the authentic story of Mulan. So they just cut it to the music, which, by the way, the music was amazing. Christina Aguilera, 2 songs, Reflection and another song. Both songs are amazing. Amazing. So you need to go watch those on YouTube. I'll link those below. So weird ending, amazing storyline. Movie was awesome to me. I think there was a lot of bits and pieces that were confusing, a lot of bits and pieces that were rushed, jumping a lot between scenes. Not really. There's a lot of things in the scenes that didn't make sense, like jumping like to and from places. Like we're walking in one plot and now all of a sudden we're in another area. I felt the beginning of the movie was rushed. I think that we were rushed to the army a little too fast. I would have liked a little bit more story. Because the movie was 2 hours long, I figured we had a little bit more time to develop the storyline. But that's just my opinion. If you don't agree, I understand. But I will definitely be watching this movie again. I will watch it probably 3 to 4 more times. I did pay $30 for it, so if I had to give this movie a ranking of watchability, for adult purposes, like for adults to watch this movie, I would say it's a 6 to a 7, 6.5 to 7. It's a very good movie. It just has a lot of things that it's lacking that I really wish it had. I understand that it's supposed to be storyline and stuff is supposed to be like authentic to like the times and like the actual story. I understand that completely. I just wish that it had a little bit more Disney flair to it. It didn't really seem like a Disney movie. It did not feel like a Disney remake or a Disney movie for that matter. It is rated PG-13, and know that there is a lot you should be aware of if you are an adult with children, and if you're an adult that may just not like violence, this is also maybe not be a movie for you. If I had to rank it, if I would rank this in the top or the bottom of the live actions that Disney has made, I would probably give it a middle tier. I would put it way above Dumbo and The Lion King, or I would not put it above or Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. I just think those movies were just amazing. My cousin came to watch the movie with me tonight, and she just was really bummed there was no music. She was really hoping there would be some form of musical flair to it, and there was absolutely nothing. There was no music at all. The only music we see is at the end of the movie, and then there's like overplay music where the music from the original movie is played in the background of the scenes that it's usually played in. So I would recommend going to see it. Just know you need to be aware of, don't compare the movies. I did that and I regret it, because I was like, what is happening here? Like, where is the horse? Why is the horse name's not Khan? Whatever. So going with an empty mind, going with just a clean slate, and just really try to enjoy the movie. It's a very enjoyable movie. It's very easy to watch. I did not get bored one time. I did not have the idea to turn it off. So I hope you enjoy it. If you watch the movie, if you have seen the movie, or if you're going to watch the movie, let me know down below. Let me know in the comments. And if you have seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below too, because I would like to know. I would like to compare thoughts and kind of have a conversation with people that have already seen it, because not many people have. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is not something that I'm going to continue to do. This was just something that I really wanted to try, because I was interested in the movie and I wanted to get my thoughts out before I forgot them. So thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy these types of videos, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the notification bell, and then also make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thanks guys so much for being here, and let's go to Disney.